Welcome to another episode of the Renault Master Camper Conversion. In this episode, I'm going to be finishing this shower room. I'm going to start by fitting a Tambour door and doing the cladding around the opening up there. We have some other little bits and bobs to do, and the silicone around everywhere. And then finally, I will be fitting the shower head, filling the tank up with water so we can run a test on the shower. I've left that to last because with the shower head there, it's going to be awkward to get the silicone gun in there and being in and out. I don't want to knock it or anything like that, so I'll save that to last, get the little bits and bobs done, and then we can finally move on to testing it. Before I started working on that little opening, I just wanted to get this bit finished, so I've taped these on there as well, and then I've just made this piece which I'm going to glue in here. It's a bit tricky, fiddly bit. I'm going to get that glued in and then I can start with finishing this frame. The next step is to make a little boxing, so I'm going to use the heat gun to heat it up, and then I'm going to bend it at 90 degrees and obviously get these 2 points to touch. So that will give me a 90-degree corner. I'll use the side of this table to get that 90 degrees, and I'll just heat it up, try and do it evenly so we get an even bend, and then that will create a little box corner where I won't have to put a trim on the corner. So there we have a 90-degree piece. It just looks much better than having a joint on the corner. It also has the grain the same, the pattern follows around, and it gives it structural integrity, so we don't actually have to build a frame to fit it on. So I'm going to go cut these down to size, a bit of an angle on it, so I'm going to try and cut it to fit where I need to put it, and then I'll show you how it's going. I've made myself a little scrap piece because it's going to be too hard to try and measure this without drawing loads of lines and stuff on it. I just thought I'll make a scrap piece and then I can just sort of get it into position. So there is one thing that I need to take into account, and this is the flat edge. So it needs to sit on there. So as long as it's sitting on there, and push it back there, we can now get this bottom corner, which I've done. I'm going to transfer that on, and then from the rest of it, I can just measure from all these points. It should be pretty similar to the other one, the bend. I know it's not machine made, it's handmade, so there could be slight differences, but I think it's about right. So I'm going to now transfer these measurements, this angle and everything on there, measure there, and try and get this piece to fit in this corner here. Right, there's my piece. That's been a bit tricky to make, and I've had to cut that bit straight because otherwise it won't go in. So there's a bit of a gap, but that's what silicone will do. It will cover all them gaps in the corners when silicone it up. So that's that. I didn't know how to get over that bit. I didn't want to put like a trim there and try and follow that round curve, and this bit originally snapped, so I thought the best thing to do, there's a bit of a split there because it changes angle as well, so I thought the best thing to do was chop that out and yeah, just basically do what I've done. It's the neatest I can get that. It's a bit of a fiddly bit, so I'm going to get that glued in there now. Once that's all siliconed up and the sealant is in there, you won't really notice the join that much. So yeah, I'm happy with that. I'm going to get that glued in and then we can carry on with finishing this framework here. Okay, so I finally finished the paneling in here. I knew it was going to be a bit of a tricky, fiddly job, so that's why I left it. I wanted to get on with some other stuff, what you've seen me doing in my previous episodes. So I've glued in this piece. Again, that was tricky, and I didn't even know what I was going to do with that because it sort of curved down. I couldn't think of any way of getting this plastic to be minimal joints like this, with it being curved, because I can't bend it and curve it at the same time. So obviously I've squared it off, and I'm happy with how that looks. I did try and cut this piece so it went all the way down, and then I was going to take the backing off this and curve a piece round, but this bit split and fell off, and then we would have had a weird joint round here which we can't even put a trim on. So I think that worked out the best idea. I've also done this panel because I was waiting for all this to be done to get it in, because there was a bit of a gap, so we put a small piece of that trim in there, glued it in, and then I've done this top bit as well. So now it's all ready for silicone, which I'm not going to do yet until later. The silicone it up and get out of the van because we don't want no dust. Obviously clean the van first, do the silicone, and then get out, because that's what I always do when I'm doing bathroom fitting, stuff like that. You don't want to work around where you silicone because it gets all dusty and then you've ruined it. So anyway, so onto the Tambour door. So now we've got an opening, that's one part. That was quite difficult to get that square with the shape of the van. A lot of intricate, tricky work, but we're there. So the next bit is some supports running this way. Now, these two are parallel with each other, so that's great. We need two supports running that way, which are going to be parallel with each other. That's why I've dropped this down, so I can get enough headroom in there for the door to not hit the roof of the van. So I built my framework in there, and I've started cutting up the track. I did actually order a flexi track, and I just couldn't get quite a tight 90-degree corner on it. Nothing similar to what these. I had another track with the 90-degree corners. That track was for this door, which is wider. I think they're about 10 or 12 mil, but these are 8 mil ones, so the door would have been too sloppy in there. So I bought a kit with slats, it come with straight runs. So I bought the flexi track, tried to get it around there, it wouldn't work. So I've now ordered some corners, but this means I can't do it yet. I've cut the edges off of these because I'm trying to save as much space. It's such a small door. I'll just glue them in like that. Something's on there. Oh, there's a bolt there. I'll have to just nip that out, that bolt. Yeah, and then basically just gluing in like that. They'll be glued in. The corner goes there. So these are just, they're cut to 250. I think the corner's 60 mil, and this is 300. So they've got a little bit of play there, but I don't want to cut them yet until I know the actual, until I got the corner in there and I know where it's sitting and everything like that. I just cut them to a sort of rough length. So I've done one bottom piece. Again, it's cut at 250, and then the corner will go in there. Once I've got that corner, and I can put another bit of framework across here. I won't really be able to get one at the top. Well, I might have to actually, because if the corner screws in, I can glue it in as well. And then we have an upright now. I can probably get this piece in now. It's just needs, no, it goes in there. So yeah, that one goes there. And then they'll go around. So I can't do anything with this now. I can get this track screwed in. I could possibly screw the bottom track down and just cut it down when the corners come, but probably not. I'm just going to get that one screwed in for now. And then I might actually get this piece that covers this ready. So basically, when you open a door, it'll just disappear into the wall. The only reason I'm doing that is it's going to look neater, but the other thing is when you've got to look up, we had a basket in here before. And if it gets caught on the door, it might not open or it might jam, so it might damage the door. So I thought if I do that, it's going to be a nice, neat job. So I'm looking forward to getting this done because this is nearly finished now. I also done this morning because I was going to silicone round all here because obviously I found out last night that I couldn't do this. So I've ordered the new bit. So I was going to silicone all around the top, but I didn't do that. So I'm not going to do a bit and then a bit more. I'll just do it all in one. So I'm going to do that later probably. While I'm waiting for my 90-degree corner pieces to arrive, I've started cutting up the Tambour door to make this so it's ready. So when the track comes, I can put it all together and install it straight away. So yeah, these are like 1.5 meters. So the door opening is about 301. So just getting 5 runs out of it, and I think I need 15 in total, which makes 30 centimeters. So I bought a Tambour door to go above my bulkhead in the main part of the living area, and then I had enough left to do this little door that I'm working on as well, so that was pretty good. My corner track's come today, so I've got this bottom run fitted. The front's screwed in, the rest needs to be glued. Well, this corner piece needs to be screwed in. I made this little block to go in here. I blowtorched it quite black because everything's black in there, so it'll blend in better. So I'm going to glue that in now, then I can get this run fitted in, and then we can move on to the top row. The top track's in, so I've got to get this little block in here next. I'm going to glue that in with turbo, and then I'll leave it 20 minutes and I'll be able to go and drill it and get this corner done, then I can finally do this run. Then I'll be able to test the door. If it's all good, I'll put the cover over there, and then we have a door in the bathroom. I think I'm going to have to put a little panel in here. I've not yet figured that out, so I'm going to get the door in and see how it runs and then start looking at what I'm going to do with this. Okay, so all the tracks are now done. I had to glue the top track and the bottom track in, and then glue the blocks, so fix the corners too. So I'm going to leave that for 20 minutes. I've just cut the side panel down because I didn't know where to cut it because of the curves. So I've done that, and while I've done that, I might go fill up the water tank so we can test the shower. So I've just filled up my tank enough to get the shower running. What I do whenever I fill my system up is I plug this on here, and then I've got these plugs that I use for work for plugging water tanks. They just expand in the hole, and I put it inside the entry hole in there, and I push full mains pressure into the system, which pushes any airlocks, and I'll just go and open the kitchen sink, hot and cold, and that will push anything through.
because sometimes you get an airlock in there, that pump's trying to suck from there. From the pump on, it's pumping, but from the tank to the pump is sucking. So if we have got an airlock in there, nothing's gonna happen. So that's the way I get over that. So now that's done, I'm gonna disconnect all this, go and fit the shower head, and then we'll be able to switch this on and test it. So that Tambour door is now done. I've got to put this board on in there and put some sort of trim here. I'm not going to do it in this video, I'm not going to bother with it at the moment. I've got other stuff to do, so I just wanted to get the main thing done, which was this. And now I can move on to testing the shower. I fitted up the shower head now, but I don't want to turn it on there because I haven't finished silicone around the bottom there. It's just going to send water everywhere, so I don't think I'm going to be able to hold the camera and do the controls on the shower. I've actually got better pressure on here than I thought it would, so I'm happy with that. So this shower is pretty much done now, so I'm going to end this episode here, I think. So I've now completed the shower. The last job I had to do was just silicone around this new panel. I replaced that for a one piece, and I'd done the silicone around all these panels last night, so it's just on the floor to do, which I've just done. And then the Tambour door, so I can now tick this off as a job done. Apart from this little corner trim, I don't know what I'm going to do there, but for now that's pretty much done. And the shower pressure is pretty good, so I'm happy with that. I appreciate watching this video. If you found it helpful or you just enjoyed watching it, please hit that like button. And if you're interested to see how this camper's going to come out in the end, or you just enjoyed the video, please subscribe to the channel, and I'll be bringing out more episodes very soon.